Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content I've been putting up, be sure to subscribe so you always know when a new video pops up. Now that we got that part out of the way, let's get into the video. Final Fantasy XIV is a massive game with thousands of hours of content. What I'm going to do here is break down some of the major plot points for those of you who want to know more about Eorzea, but may not have time to experience it all firsthand. This time, we're covering the second part of the Nier crossover, Yorha Dark Apocalypse. When we last left off, the android 2P had shut down after her battle with 9S in the copied factory, and you, Anog, and Konog had gone back inside to see if you could find the key that 2P mentioned. However, the twins don't agree on whether or not to trust the android. Anog wants to find 2P's key and see what else she can learn from the android, if you can fix her that is. Konog does want to find the key, but he's not so sure about trusting 2P. Either way, they both want to explore the factory. After searching around, you find a lot of different things along with a damaged pod. The thing springs to life, apparently not as damaged as it seemed, which is a little disappointing to Anog since she wanted to take it apart and see what made it tick. With a little more searching, you all find something even more interesting. 9S didn't die after 2P knocked him over the side of the factory. Somehow he managed to climb back up before passing out. Despite wanting to work with 2P, Anog decides that instead of destroying him like 2P would want, she'll bring 9S back with her, just in case Konog is right and you need a bit of insurance to deal with the other android. Back at the base with all the stuff they found, the twins get to work analyzing it all while they send you to distract the chief. He actually admits that the twins are probably the best dwarves to study the tech, and it'll be a good idea to let them work. See, you didn't even have to set his house on fire like the twins told you to. Something you'd agreed to do, I might add, and they call you a hero. After spending a bit of time playing servant to others around the world, you head back to the chief, who decides to send you to check in on the twins. They've been working on the stuff they found for a while, which is good until they end up blowing something else up, which will be bad since the annual carnival is coming up. In fact, since the twins seem to respect you a little bit, the chief wants you to remind them about the other work they need to do to prepare for the big event. The twins have actually had a bit of luck with their research. The pod said that one of the devices they found is linked to some weaponry, which means it's probably the key that 2P wanted. But once it said that, it shut down. They need a new power source for it, which Anog is eager to find so she can power up the key and take down her enemies. What enemies a teenage dwarf has are beyond me, and even her brother doesn't think she should turn it on so soon, at least not until after you find out what it does. Of course, they start to argue again, and when you get involved, they both turn on you. Take this as a bit of real-world advice. Never get involved in a fight between siblings because they'll both turn on you before going back to what they were arguing about. The twins work things out for themselves after agreeing that they need the weapons to protect their villages if the androids attack, so now it's time to find a power source. Anog believes you'll need some crystals, although she doesn't know how she'll make them work yet. She sends you to get one while she and her brother thinks up a way to use it. When you bring it to them, they try to run off and work on it, but the chief catches them and finally makes them get to work on their part of the festival, after a few persuading words from you, of course. The chief invites you to attend the festival because after all the hard work you did for them, you deserve a drink, or 12. Now I know why Giat drank so much. With their tiny bodies, you'd think they couldn't hold their liquor, but nope, dwarves drink. A lot. With everyone working together, it doesn't take long for the carnival to get underway. It's quite the event with food, drinks, games, drinks, and of course drinks. But none of that keeps the twins' attention for long. They've been sneaking off working on the key between preparing for the carnival and all their other duties, and they managed to get it powered up, but they have no idea how to use it. The only thing they figured out how to do is make it show symbols, and even with the pod translating, they still have no idea what they mean. The only person who might understand them is 2P, and she's shown no signs of powering back up on her own. In a maneuver they should have done days ago, Anog asks the pod to see if 2P can be fixed. A quick scan shows where she's damaged, and all it needs is a replacement part. It just so happens that there was a room in the factory filled with the dead bodies of androids that looked a lot like 2P, only dressed in black. As creepy as it is, the pod is able to get the parts for 2P from the corpses, and he's able to fix her. When she wakes up and gets her bearings, she gets the key and pushes a few buttons. The entire mountain starts to shake, and you all rush outside to see an entire area being bombed by androids and flight units. Dwarves are running and screaming as the entire mountain is reduced to rubble. A small army of black-clad androids step out, and 2P moves to confront them until all of their clothes turn white, and you realize that they are friends. And Konog was right. 2P was not your friend. She goes to kill Anog, but another android, this one dressed in black, rushes in to save her. Instead of continuing the fight, 2P hops into a flight suit of her own and leaves with her friends after telling you to enjoy watching the world end. Even though he hadn't fully trusted her, Konog hadn't thought 2P would try to kill them. But after just having one android turn on him, he's even less trusting of the new android, even though she did save his sister. She introduces herself as 2B, yes, the one from Nier Automata, and she says that her reason for being there is to destroy the androids in white. Together, you all chase 2P into the giant facility that was exposed when the androids destroyed the mountain, the puppet's bunker. However, 2B isn't really interested in working with you, and she takes off into the bunker alone in a flight suit, leaving you to fight your way past a lot of androids and their very, very large machines. The facility goes deep underground, and after reaching the deepest part, you find that 2B has already dealt with 2P. However, a weird group of machines pop out of her body and fuse together into a giant ball. The ball turns out to be some type of cocoon, and when it bursts open, the androids transform into a really big, creepy version of 2P, which at this point isn't even the weirdest thing the Warrior of Light has seen. Weird or not, a million or so sword slashes later, and you bring down the android. Back outside, Anog is having a hard time coping with just how wrong she was about 2P, but 2B says that all of the blame lies with her for letting her own fight spread so far. Not like we know where the fight even started, or what it was about, or if 2B is going to try to kill you all too, something that Konog points out. 2B can't really answer your questions since all she remembers is that she was fighting the machines, took some damage, then ended up on your world. She can't even contact her superiors. The only reason she even found you all is because she had followed the sounds of the explosions. She does know that the machine life forms were made by aliens, and Yorha's job is to reclaim the planet from the invaders. She basically didn't tell you much of anything, but when you mention 9S, she asks to see him. Since things can't get much worse, Konog takes her to him. He hasn't been operational since your fight, but it turns out that he's 2B's partner, and she needs him if she's going to beat the machines, which means she wants your help waking him up. The twins have some experience with this since they helped 2P, but Anog is still shaken up after everything that happened. It doesn't get better when the other dwarves show up demanding retribution for the damage caused by the android attack. They blame the twins since they did kinda break into the dig site, wake up the androids, find the key, give it to 2P, and lead the machines there, which does kinda make it their fault. However, in the midst of Anog admitting that it was all her fault and taking whatever punishment the dwarves come up with, 2B comes out and takes all the blame. Seeing the android makes the dwarves run away, all except for the chief. He decides to speak to the other dwarves to make them be a little less hard on the kids. Konog goes to thank 2B for her help, but she doesn't care. She has other things to do, and she takes 9S and leaves, probably to find a way to revive him. When you and Konog leave to check on Anog, she's nowhere to be found. Konog goes everywhere looking for his sister, but she's nowhere to be found. And to make matters worse, the dwarves are not in a forgiving mood. The attack killed and severely injured a lot of their people. One dwarf's wife even lost her unborn child during the attack, and despite his attempts to apologize, Konog can't undo what he's done. He searches high and low for his sister, going to all of her usual spots, but she's not in any of them. Not knowing what else to do, he heads back into the puppet's bunker. You find him on the lowest floor, standing in front of something that wasn't there before. A giant white ball. He's seen it before, but he isn't really in the state of mind to explain it to you. Fortunately, the echo takes over and shows you a vision of Anog and Konog exploring the mountain long before the androids ever appeared. An earthquake hits, and large boulders fall toward Konog. Anog pushes him out of the way, saving him but knocking him unconscious. When he wakes up, he searches all over for his sister, finding pieces of her clothing, but he doesn't find her. He does find the same large white orb that you found him standing in front of. He calls out for his sister, and weird symbols appear on the ball before a blinding light flashes and a maskless dwarf girl appears. She speaks in the same strange language that the orb did, but after scanning Konog, she adopts the personality of his sister. Meaning that the girl who's been hanging around with Konog all of this time may not have been his sister at all, but a creation of this strange device. So the question is, whatever happened to the real Anog? And where did this strange orb come from? This concludes the second part of the Nier crossover, Yorha Dark Apocalypse. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next part of the story.